On the night of March 1, 1932, someone climbed a ladder to the second floor of Charles Lindbergh's New Jersey home and took his 20-month-old son. The ransom was paid. The baby was found dead. This wasn't merely a crime. It was an act that plunged America's greatest hero into a nightmare, capturing the morbid fascination of a nation reeling from economic despair. It remains one of the most infamous cases in history, a wound on the American psyche. Charles Lindbergh was a titan of his age, a dashing aviator whose solo flight across the Atlantic in 1927 had etched his name into legend. He was the embodiment of American daring and innovation, adored by millions. His serene estate in Hopewell, New Jersey, was meant to be a sanctuary for his young family, away from the constant glare of public life. But the early 1930s were turbulent years, a time of widespread poverty, Prohibition-era crime, and rising desperation across the country. Kidnappings for ransom were tragically common, often carried out by organized gangs. The Lindbergh name, however, added an unparalleled layer of global scrutiny and public pressure to this already fraught social landscape. The discovery of the empty crib, a hastily scrawled ransom note, and a crudely constructed ladder left leaning against the house immediately sparked a frantic search. Over the ensuing weeks, a flurry of ransom notes arrived, each bearing a unique, distinctive symbol of 3 overlapping circles. Law enforcement agencies launched a massive investigation, while the world watched on, horrified. An eccentric retired school principal, Dr. John F. Condon, known as Jaff C., acted as an intermediary, communicating directly with the alleged kidnapper. In a clandestine exchange in a Bronx cemetery, Condon handed over $50,000 in marked gold certificates. The elusive abductor promised the baby's return, a promise that tragically proved to be a cruel deception. Just over 2 months later, on May 12, the decomposed body of Charles Lindbergh Jr. was discovered in a shallow grave mere miles from his home. The grim finding shattered any remaining hope, confirming the nation's worst fears. The cause of death was a massive skull fracture, likely sustained during the initial abduction. For over 2 years, the trail ran cold, until a key piece of evidence surfaced. Some of the marked ransom money began appearing in circulation. This led investigators to a German immigrant carpenter named Bruno Richard Hauptmann, living in the Bronx. His arrest ignited a media frenzy, quickly painting him as the sole villain in a national tragedy. At trial, prosecutors presented a compelling case built on circumstantial evidence. Handwriting experts testified that Hauptmann's script matched the ransom notes, and a distinct piece of wood from the ladder was allegedly traced to his attic. Yet, Hauptmann steadfastly maintained his innocence, claiming he was holding the ransom money for a friend who had since returned to Germany. Hauptmann was convicted of kidnapping and murder, and ultimately executed in 1936. His case led directly to the Lindbergh Law, making kidnapping a federal offense. Yet, despite the verdict, the public's confidence in the justice system began to waver, especially as questions lingered about potential police misconduct and the credibility of certain witnesses. Decades later, historians and amateur sleuths continue to pore over every detail of the case, raising uncomfortable questions about whether justice was truly served. Was Bruno Hauptmann the sole architect of this heinous crime, or was he a scapegoat, protecting others? The chilling echoes of that night on the Lindbergh estate persist, a crime forever etched into the American story.